This is cool.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Becca, and I have traded my Tesla Model 3 for a Polestar P3, which was definitely a jump, a very scary jump, but a much needed jump, in my personal opinion. I really wanted to make the switch just because my Tesla was aging and not aging well. I had a 2020, I bought brand new, little Model 3 Standard Range Plus, did the rear wheel drive thing because I was like, yes, rear wheel drive is fun. Not on that car. There's nothing you can do with it. If you wanted to do any fun rear wheel drive stuff, you had to like jailbreak the car, which it's just, you get rid of your warranty and then it's kind of lame.
You had to get one of Elon's teenage coders
to
come out.
I knew I wanted to get rid of the Tesla for a while. It was just trying to figure out what I kind of wanted to jump to and what made sense for me, like payment wise too, because a lot of these other EVs are very, very expensive. So there's really only like 4 major just plain EV companies that just do electric vehicles in the United States. It's either you got Tesla, and then you got Rivian, and then you got Polestar, and then you got like Lucid. But other than that, like those are your choices. And so I have three ICE cars, you know, and I had this Tesla, and I was like, I kind of like the daily EV thing because I don't really drive a lot on daily for commute and stuff. So I did some research. So I think the one thing that really did attract me to Polestar is, one, it's a European designed Swedish car that they recently did a factory in South Carolina, so that's cool. So that's how America's kind of getting these Polestars now, but also like doing research on them before actually making the jump. Their mission statement's actually very, very well written and very, very green and eco-friendly oriented, which is what you think you are buying into when you get a Tesla, or what I personally thought I was getting into when I bought a Tesla, and then you realize that, you know, that is just not the case. I drive EV because it's green for the environment, and I really do feel like a daily commuter if you don't drive far. It's smart to do an electric vehicle rather than an ICE car, just a regular engine car. So I think there are definitely perks, which I can definitely explain later about why I feel like people should maybe think about EVs a little bit harder than if. There's definitely reasons why I think people should consider driving EVs as a daily, but still have your fun, you know, ICE cars on the side that you can still do that kind of stuff with. It's just a great option. So Polestar design in Sweden, ironically or maybe unironically, kind of like a subcategory of Volvo. Back in the day, Polestar used to be like Volvo's like racing, performance kind of category, and then Polestar kind of like bloop, broke off, kind of like almost like a Honda Acura kind of situation, and now Polestar is just doing electric vehicles. So they started out with the P1, which was a half and half. It was engine and electric together. They were turboed.
They were turboed and supercharged.
Yeah.
On a 4-cylinder, I believe, which is really weird.
I've actually never seen one around.
They were insanely expensive.
Yeah.
And I'm sure super reliable.
Yeah. And then no. And then it was the P2, which was their fully electric sedan style.
But was based on an ICE chassis.
Yes, which it's weird. The P2 is a little weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the P3, which has been in Europe for a while now, but just recently released in the United States, and that's why I have my hands on one at the moment. And then obviously Europe already has the P4, which I think is a really cool car, and I cannot wait to drive it or test drive it. And then we should be getting the P4 at some point in the future here, in the near future. They do have one. When I went to go test drive this, they had one in the showroom that you couldn't test drive yet.
I think they said they expected it in a couple months.
Yeah, but it's definitely something that I want to try out. Unironically, the designer for the P3 is an ex-designer of Audi.
Yeah.
Which I find very interesting. And you can kind of look at the car and kind of pick up on some Audi-esque looking things, which is kind of cool.
The design's like really clean though. There's 2 badges, and it's kind of almost like a nerdy car in a way, because there's just like kind of numbers, like the kilowatt battery pack size, and then like on the seats. Yeah, I think everybody knows that, but it's just kind of cool. Like there's no branding of, hey, this is a Polestar. It's just the is that the Polestar?
Little arrows. It's supposed to symbolize the North Star, I thought.
The North Pole Star.
Yeah, something like that. When I was doing my research, I was really torn. I really like Rivian, but I'm not really into driving something that's the size of a Lincoln Navigator. And I also really don't want a truck. I kind of wanted to stick with a sedan. That kind of got away from me with this purchase, but I have no regrets. A little worried here and there, just because I'm like, what did I do? Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm used to drive. I've never had an SUV. I've always kind of driven sportier light cars, lower to the ground. Not saying that this doesn't have a sporty type vibe on the outside going on, because it definitely does. But it's pretty high up for me, so I'm really not used to it. Sometimes I scare myself. I'm a really good parker. Lately, I've been freaking myself out every time I park this thing, no matter if I'm pulling into a spot or I'm like backing up. It's weird, and I don't know why, and it's like I've just went brain dead. This is a mid-size SUV, so I would equate it to like your Ford Explorers.
I think it's mid-size?
It is mid-size.
Wow, okay.
I would relate it to like your Ford Explorers.
Yeah.
Your probably the new Santa Fe.
Yeah, that's true. We were next to a Nissan Armada, and that thing looked like a giant compared to this. So
yeah, and that's like a full SUV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that car over there, the Tiguan. Like
how the hell did you know that was a Tiguan?
CRV.
Who the hell knows Tiguan? That's such a deep cut.
Your CRV, your RAV4.
Yeah.
Probably pretty comparable to the Tesla Model Y in size, I want to say. Personally, I was a little worried. I think this thing sometimes when I'm driving, and I'm like, this thing is ginormous. It's really, compared to the Model 3, yes, it is taller. It is the same width. And I think it's like maybe 3 inches longer, I think, when I looked it up, which to some people 3 inches means a lot.
It's a fact of life, Becca.
But
that's probably the biggest number I've ever heard of.
You can't tell the size, width, and long ways compared to the Model 3. I've only driven one Model Y as a loaner car when I had my Tesla, and I was like, I could never drive an SUV. And then here I am.
That also drove like crap.
Yeah, that was also not a great experience. I kind of made the jump into the SUV type thing, which I'm vibing with it. Yeah, I mean, I used to own like little crossover hatchbacks, little hot hatches, and I really missed having the open trunk design because you couldn't fit anything in a Tesla trunk, really. I mean, there's a lot of space going on in the Model 3 trunk, but it's not like I'm gonna go to Best Buy and pick up a TV or anything like that. Like, you can't do that. So that's
no decadent art.
Yeah, you can't help your friends move, stuff like that. So that's also kind of why I was like, okay, maybe I will like this new little like mid-size SUV life. When I first test drove the Polestar 3 at at the King of Prussia kind of hub. It's not really a dealership, but when I first drove it, Sam, who's the general manager there, and the guy that was helping me out, David, they were really cool, really super helpful. It is a little bit different than a Tesla dealership situation. They actually go on the test drive with you. They really go through and explain all the features of the car, which I kind of liked, because I remember going to test drive my Model 3, or just test drive a Model 3, and they were just like, yeah, here's the car, just don't put it in park or else we can't, because they didn't come with you. And like, so you were just kind of in the car and you're like, should I just drive away? And you were kind of like playing with the features. I mean, that is one thing I think that Tesla's maybe leaned into extra hard, is that most people know about Teslas, you know what I mean? And they're coming to their hubs because they know a lot about Teslas already. Like, they've done their research and they just get in the car and go kind of situation. Polestar is a little different. I really did enjoy David going through everything and showing me all the features on the screen and showing me the little quirks that Polestar like put in on purpose, because there are a lot of like little, I call them character pieces in this car that is non-existent on Tesla. A lot. Really just like cool, like, okay, you can definitely tell this thing was designed in Europe and it wasn't designed in California.
Just the thought behind it too,
yeah,
though.
the thought behind it is it's pretty great. Usually I'm pretty scared when I drive other people's cars, or like when I go to test drive cars. Like, I'm not a person to go in on a test drive and like beat the crap out of a car kind of thing, or like really like push it to its limits. Like, I'm more about, okay, how does this car drive like on the daily? Like, you know what I mean? Just nice and easy, nice and relaxed driving, which is kind of what I did when I test drove it. I was mainly like paying attention to like how the steering wheel felt, and like, do I like this screen? Do I like this weird little screen in front of me because I'm so used to this big laptop screen in the center of the dashboard? Do I like, you know, the feel or the look of the dashboard? Do I like the mirrors? Like, you know what I mean? Do I like the features that it has to offer? I was like kind of surprised when I got in. I mean, we were driving, I don't know, I think my max speed was like maybe like 50 or something like that. Nothing rattled. I was like, what in the world is going on here? Very luxurious feel to everything. Pleasantly surprised, pleasantly happy. There's definitely, like, just sitting in the seat, not even driving the car, you're like, wow, this is not a Tesla. It's definitely quality. There's like no like weird gaps in the interior and the headline is not half falling out. It feels luxurious, and the features that come on this car are a step up from Tesla. The model that I have, so I have the P3, the Polestar 3. It has the Pro package, the Pilot package, and the Plus package. They were running a extra special deal in January that you got like a certain little extra money off if you added the Plus package. I took it a step above that because I was like, ooh, like on the Pro package you get like the yellow or gold accents in the car, and I really do like these wheels, which might be a hot take, but I think they look great. And those come with the Pro package. Also, one thing that came with the Pro package that now I think all Polestars have with this latest update is the lights. The ambient lighting can be gold, which is really cool, but you can also change it to white. Now the Plus package has the Bowers & Wilkins sound system in it. So I think it's 25 speakers interior and 3 exterior, which is very interesting. I learned that from my research. Yeah, there's 3 speakers exterior.
For what?
For like the sounds, like reversing.
Is that why it's so loud?
Yeah, and driving at low speeds, because EVs in America have to have a sound. The 25 speaker Bowers & Wilkins system is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I used to think the Tesla and my standard range plus, which had like the premium speaker system, I used to think that was a really good system until I sat in this car. It is insane. It has the quintessential Bowers and Wilkins little dash tweeter. It has 2 speakers in each headrest in the front, which kind of are really cool when you're reversing. Just gonna throw that out there. And phone calls are really cool because the voice comes out of the headrest. Weird, but it's like those little quirks that you're just like, that's cool. I didn't know that. Even if you're not interested in purchasing a Polestar, I think it is important that you just go to a hub, check out the car, even if it's just for the sound system. It is impressive, and I think it might set the new standard for sound systems in EVs.
I think in cars.
Yeah, it's Dolby Atmos. Like, that's odd, but yeah, it really does change your favorite songs like while you're driving. That's why I'm so excited to take it like on longer trips and stuff like that, even though I haven't done that yet, is just to be able to listen to music and my favorite playlists or my favorite albums and jam out with them. And I'm a music person at home too, so it's cool to listen to the differences that you hear just being in the car, because it is such a closed space with so many speakers.
Yeah. I mean, like 60s and 70s music, like just the instruments and how clear it is, it's wild.
Yeah. I think the fit and finish in this car is noteworthy as well. It's not cheap. It doesn't feel cheap. There's no threads that are like coming up, aka in the Tesla. The seats are very luxurious. It does take some getting used to, for me at least, just because I drove the Tesla a lot all the time. So like they don't hug you. I feel like your legs and like your hips the same as the Teslas do. Like the Teslas have the really high seat bolsters on the side. These ones aren't as high.
Yeah, you're right.
I opted for the Weave Tech. I'm not a real big fan of pleather seats or leather seats, specifically just because of the summer. Wearing shorts and leather seats for me is not something that I like. So I opted for the Weave Tech. Cooling seats, even though that would be interesting to have and really nice to have, it's just not a perk that I was looking for. So I opted out, and it actually did save me some money opting out of that leather.
That's $5,000. Yeah, $6,000 I think, because it's heated and cooled, like you said.
Yeah, I love the way that they look, but
it's a lot of money.
For me, that's just not important enough. And the thing about this, it's not like your standard fabric seats. It's like this, like, I forget what David said it was like. He said it was like a wetsuit material, and it really is. Like it has a nice feel to it. And then the ones on the side are the Weave Tech, where it's like a more, you know, fabric-y type material, but like where your back goes and where your butt goes on the seat, it's more of that like wetsuit type material where it still feels nice and has like a kind of harder exterior to it. So I think they're going to be very durable. Another reason why I chose fabric seats versus the pleather or the leather or the vegan leather or whatever it is because on my Tesla, my seats started ripping at the seams, and it's not like I abused that car. It had 44,000 miles on it. And it started tearing at at the seams, and I do remember going to Tesla and I'm like, hey, what's up with this? And they're like, oh, well, you had 1 week or 100 miles to let us know of any interior defects in the upholstery. And I was like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard about.
Yeah.
So not a fan.
We also found that staple in the roof,
in the headliner.
It was poking out, and it was never fully attached.
Yeah.
And I think we found that like 2 weeks after, and that was how we found that out. You have a week to say something. Was it a week or 3 days? It was like something really short.
I forget what it was.
But it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. One thing I will say, I was not expecting the cost of this car.
Yeah.
Driving it, I'm like, okay, this thing is expensive. Seeing the actual sticker price of the car, you're like, oh my gosh, this thing is very expensive. And then seeing the deals, yeah, it is. There's
no getting around that.
It's an $83,000 mid-size SUV that's EV. But the lease deals that they were toting in January made this a very, very tempting offer. So if you were trading in a competitor car, aka Tesla, they gave you an extra incentive, and they still use that green tax break, the 7,500, and they bumped it up to 10 for January, and it went right towards kind of your price, which was also really nice. Also, David at King of Prussia Polestar in Philadelphia really hooked me up. He knew I wanted to get out of my Tesla, and I told him, I really like this car, and he really did make the numbers work for me. So I really do appreciate that. In reality, I am in this car for way less than I'm paying a month than what I was paying on my Tesla. Financing, which I'm leasing this, probably because financing a Tesla has left a really bad taste in my mouth. It did not age well. So I'm going to lease. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to do my little lease thing for a while, and then I get to see kind of what the EV market is doing after the 3 years, which I'm kind of excited for, because I really do feel like, Tesla's always going to be...
Nardo Gray.
I really do feel like Tesla has been the industry standard for EVs for some time. I really do feel like these other EV brands coming, Rivian and Polestar and Lucid, I really do feel like they're going to use that industry standard that Tesla has set to kind of raise the bar. And I think it's going to entice a lot of people to go away from their Teslas, because they do realize, oh my gosh, there's better things out there. I feel like, personally, I've kind of had blinders on the whole time I had my Tesla. I was like, this is the best. And in 2020, it was the best EV. Don't get me wrong whatsoever. But driving this, I'm like, this is matching, if not above, what I've gotten from Tesla. And it's just kind of awesome to see something else kind of at least match that mark, if not go over it. So I am really excited to see what the EV market's going to do, different brands. I'm excited to see what Polestar's going to do. I'm excited to see what Rivian's going to do, especially with their smaller EVs that they're planning to come out with in like 2026, 2027, stuff of that nature.
I think a point though as well, it's not only above Tesla. I don't know if you've driven any SUVs recently, but I think it's matching or above ICE SUVs as well.
Yeah.
This drive's great. Center of gravity's low. Yep. It's just fun to drive.
It is a very phenomenal SUV, and it is a very phenomenal EV.
Yeah.
And I think that Model Y owners should drive it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to get out of your Model Y, it's always good to just test drive cars. Even if I'm just bought my car, if there's a car that I think's really cool on a lot somewhere, I'll go to that dealership. I'll go there and be like, hey, can I take this car out? Can you show me this car? Can I drive this car? I think it's important that we all do that sometimes, because you don't really know what's out there until you start looking. So take the time, drive the EVs, drive the legacy brand EVs, and then drive the, strictly electric vehicle EVs. It is worth your time to do it, especially if you are a Tesla driver. I think it's really important that you do it. I was a Tesla driver. I drove the Solterra. I drove the Beamer. Meh. I drove this car. I sat on it for a day or two, and then I was like, okay. I think this is the move I want to make.
The Solterra was not meh.
Meh. The Solterra was a no.
That was one of the worst driving cars I've ever driven.
The fact that you can...
Sorry.
The fact
Sorry.
The fact that you can sit in the Subaru Solterra and see Toyota badges in places, you're like, I get it. I get that Subaru and Toyota joined forces to make this car, but why?
It just did not drive well.
It felt like a Toyota. It didn't feel like a Subaru. But the BMW i4 was not it. Not it. And I'm a Beamer person. Yeah. And I said absolutely not. But anyway, the quality on this car is phenomenal.
The poor lady, you're gonna give her a heart attack.
No.
What?
I'm gonna do it.
No, don't do that. No. You stop wreaking havoc.
So, I made a post on my Tesla Model 3 page on Facebook thanking them for, the last 5 years of information because, Tesla owners really do have a lot of questions because remember, nobody showed us the car. So, questions all the time with people on that page. And I was like, thank you for the past 5 years. I have traded my Tesla in. I am now still electric, but whatever. I'm driving a Polestar, and I got so many comments like, "Well, enjoy your non-self-driving car." Well, that's just stupid because that's what I mean about doing your research. Drive the other cars, see what the other features are. This car has pretty much your standard Tesla autopilot that I would say is actually maybe better than your standard Tesla autopilot. I never paid for full self-driving the Tesla, but this thing does pretty well. It has lane change assist. Tesla didn't get that.
Yep.
Tesla didn't get that at all. Standard
For free.
auto, yeah, for free. And the thing is, there's no option for a full driving upgrade with this vehicle. It's, hey, we're gonna keep putting out software updates and you're gonna get them and you get to reap the benefits of the software updates. And if we update stuff and we get you self-park or whatever, our park assist, that's something that you can do.
These brands are actually waiting for, I think it's level 4 autonomy, because that's actually what you pay for. Tesla is not self-driving.
Yeah.
It tries to murder your family.
I
So-
I loved when Elon.
So I would rather a company wait until something's polished than to let these cars drive themselves on the public roads with families, and that's just my opinion. I don't know. It was pretty terrible.
Yeah, Elon gave us that free month of full self-drive.
Twice, I think, right?
Twice I had it when I had the Tesla, and both times it tried to murder me.
We're in PA.
Yeah, it's not. It's just not. At least for the times that I used it, it wasn't there.
Nope.
For me, I personally preferred the standard autopilot. I think it was perfect for what it was designed for. Highway driving, long straight, stop and go traffic. But the full self-driving, like with it, pulling out, trying to make rights on the highways, are not it for me, at least.
Yeah. On Route 30, even the regular autopilot, or no, not even with the autopilot, just phantom brake.
Yeah.
What's that little stretch?
Yeah. It
I
tried
don't know
to.
if you can explain that. But every time you would drive by that one spot on the highway, it would dart.
Yeah.
You know that spot I'm talking about?
It would.
But that was just the car.
Yeah.
So
But that wasn't even full. That wasn't even autopilot. It would just.
Yeah, there's just weird quirks
great.
with that car. So to call, I don't know. I just don't think it's that safe of a system yet.
Yeah. Now I have had this for 1 month, and I like I said, my daily commute isn't long enough to try the enhanced cruise control. Is that what they call it?
I don't know. I used it on the way back though. It a comparison would be, so when you have your speed set, say you set it to 80 on the highway, but someone's slower in front of you and it slows down.
Mm-hmm.
If they then get out of the way, this system speeds up to your desired speed way faster. The Tesla would really hesitate to gradually get up to speed. That's one big thing I noticed, because that was always an annoyance, because if there's people behind you, I don't know, we're in PA, people are very impatient. They'll honk or try and drive around, and then the Tesla would slow up again because they cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the lane change worked great. This air ride, boy.
Oh yeah, so
This air ride, I'll tell you what, boy.
So the Polestar 3 is air ride, so that's fun. There's some cows back there. Welcome to Pennsylvania.
Oh crap! Look at
Oh,
that.
look at the cows. And there's a goat farm down the street. We're not in the boonies or anything, but it looks like we are from these cows back here.
We can put on our straw hat.
So yes, the Polestar 3 is air ride. This is my first air ridden car. Wild, man. Listen, you can speed so easily with the air ride because it is so smooth. You have no idea you're going 85 in places that you shouldn't be going 85 in. Phenomenal. It drives really smooth. Now, the one thing I have to say, if you are going to switch over from a EV sedan or just an ICE sedan, is kind of the body roll that happens. I'm still personally getting used to it. Taking turns a little faster. I feel like I'm gonna topple over. Not saying I am gonna topple over, but it's weird feeling to me. I'm used to something that's a little more compact, a little tighter in the body of the vehicle. That sounds bad.
You're comparing to sedans.
Yeah, I've only ever owned sedans.
So like, if you drive like a regular ICE SUV, it like your comparison would be what? Your comparison would be like, oh, this Polestar 3 it drives like a car.
Yeah.
Like this is the best SUV I've ever felt.
The tires are massive on this car. The fronts are
Hello.
The fronts are 265 40. The fronts are 265 45 21. It's a big
21.
The rears 295 40 21s.
Wow. I don't know. Probably didn't catch it. Door closes itself too. It's really cool.
Yeah, I don't have to slam the door. Big tires means that if you are going to finance,
you know what big tires means.
Big rims.
Big rims.
If you are gonna finance this car, be prepared for big tires. Very expensive tires. The rear tires, I think a piece, are like $500 each. I'm leasing, so I don't really have to worry about replacing the tires. But keep that in mind, that will be a cost of maintenance for you. I thought my tires for the Tesla were expensive. I remember paying like $1,400, $1,300 for tires for the Tesla, like really, really good Michelins. These are also Michelin Primacies, all seasons, ginormous ones. So be prepared kind of for that. I mean, you can always change the size, but it needs to be an XL load rating because this car is 7,000 pounds. It does not feel like 7,000 pounds while you're driving it because it has a lot of torque. It has a lot of horsepower, but it is heavy.
Oh, here she comes. Here she comes.
Country roads.
Take me home to the land where I belong.
I thought it was the place I belong.
West Virginia. Okay.
I like how we're saying that. There's a load of cows literally in the back.
West Virginia. Yeah, I mixed like 3 songs there, I think.
Other things that you don't get from Tesla that the P3 has to offer. It is a Google-based operating Google. It is a
you just go underwater.
Google. It is a Google-based operating system, which I think is pretty cool. It's not Tesla OS. It is completely Google-based. It runs off of Google Maps, which is really cool. You can change it. You can download things. There's a Play Store. They also, in the most recent update, they got Android Auto, or not Android, Apple CarPlay. Sorry, Apple CarPlay for the Apple users. I am not. So I kind of like the Google-based thing going on. The apps, I think, are a lot smoother. The Tesla Spotify app, for instance, always gave me crazy issues. I love having a Google-based Spotify app on this car, and it really integrates well into the screen, which I think is very important. Also, there's like this really cool feature that's already like enabled on the Google Maps on this car, is that all the charging stations are just there. In fact, the one day I got in and it was like, do you have an NCAA adapter? the Tesla adapter for the car, and I just hit yes. I haven't even bought one yet, but I will be buying one. And it unlocks like those chargers as well as just your standard like charge point chargers too, like on the map to show you exactly where
I
they
didn't
are.
know that.
Yeah, so that's a cool feature. I kind of set it up just like I had the Tesla. I never had like the plain white map on there with just the roads. I like the satellite view because I like to be like, oh, that's cool, look over there kind of situation. So I have that set up on here too. So like I said, Spotify app, you can pretty much download anything. I read an article that Polestar in Europe is going to be putting, I think it was like Formula One F1 TV on there. And they're also getting free Nvidia upgrades. I'm kind of curious to see what kind of like graphics chips in this car. I wonder if we have that or if we have the standard what was issued in Europe. Just because we are a lot newer. Like the only model year of the Polestar 3 you can get in the US is the 2025s.
A big key point that I am very passionate about is there is no monthly subscription, which I could not believe.
Yeah, so if you wanted your Tesla to have internet access, you paid $16.99 a month. And that lets you listen to Spotify on the go. You could use your car as a hotspot. And I paid for that for almost 5 years.
For 4G.
For 4G.
It was slow as heck.
It was bad.
You cannot watch 1080p YouTube videos on that. It will buffer. 720p, you had to let buffer for probably 5 minutes before you hit play.
Yeah.
That was my experience. I don't know. I'm pretty sure all 4G towers would be the same across the US, but it was bad.
It was slow. It was very unreliable. Like there would be times I would get in the Tesla to drive my 2.5 mile drive home from work, and I would have my car wouldn't have an internet access to be able to play my Spotify.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds very first world problems, but I had to connect via Bluetooth. And I don't know why that like bugged me, but I'm just like, I pay $16.99 a month for this.
Yeah, you pay the money.
Yeah, so this is just 5G. It comes standard. You're not paying any monthly subscription extra for it. So you get over-the-air updates whenever they become available, which I think is pretty important, especially for people like, I remember the whole reason I bought into the Tesla internet thing is because I lived in an apartment, so I couldn't connect my car to my Wi-Fi. So I wanted to make sure I was doing the over updates as they were coming out, so that's why I bought into that, and I just kind of kept it. But this is cool. So if your Wi-Fi cannot reach your car wherever you are parking this car, it will just always have your standard 5G, and you don't have to pay anything extra for it.
Yep.
Other cool features that they released in the most recent update is keys. You can have a digital key for Android, you can have a digital key for Apple. It is a little wonky still, a little buggy from what I'm seeing. I still can't get mine to work, which we need to figure out, but I'm not too upset about it. You still have your standard Polestar keys, like the Tesla key cards, so you get 2 of those, and then you also get a key fob. Now the key fob doesn't have any buttons on it, it's just like this little white brick. I haven't carried it enough, but I actually kind of like it because I'm that kind of person, since I've had the Tesla for so long, I just don't lock my car because I know when I walk away from it, it's gonna lock. And I know that's weird, but like these are the things that like from switching from a Tesla to a different EV brand, like you want to see. Still can't get the phone key to work. That's fine. The app's not like, you can still lock your car from your app. The Tesla app, the way that it worked as a phone key was Bluetooth, which we know is very, very old technology. So, the phone key for the Polestar actually goes in either your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet or your Samsung Wallet. But you need to have wideband.
Yeah. Ultra wideband.
You need to have ultra wideband on your phone to be able to use a Polestar key. So there are certain Google phones that cannot do it, which is womp womp kind of thing. But it's a little bit better than having that Tesla Bluetooth phone key, because that, like, I remember, like, if my phone was in my back pocket, it wouldn't unlock the car because it couldn't sense it.
Miss anything?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Polestar has a top-down view. You don't get that in your Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like it, but it is still missing some things that I really miss on the Tesla. Like when you're reversing, it not only did the rear camera, but the 2 mirrors. So you could see where in the lines, if you're backing into a parking spot, you could go, or like how close you were to things. This does have cameras on each mirror, on each rear view mirror, but there's no option to be able to view them, which is weird to me. Like, bring it, please. I have this little screen here in front of the steering wheel, which I'm still getting used to. I have a heads-up display that I'm still getting used to, because those are all features I didn't have with the Tesla. But not only am I missing the rear view, the side view cameras when you're backing up, but I'm missing the blind spot camera when you put your turn signal on. I really did use that for merging quite a lot.
I think every car should have that.
Yeah, not only did I look over my shoulder, but then I was like, all right, cool. I don't see anything. I'm gonna go. I mean, like, Honda Civic SIs have that. Like, when you put your turn signal on, it shows you.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Honda
just
Civic.
Just the right.
Yeah, just the right. But
is it just the right or I think it's just the right. There's just one camera on the mirror.
Yeah. But Honda Civics have that. Like, I want that here. And I think that they could integrate it to this little screen in front of your face down here very, very seamlessly. I really do like about the Polestar that Tesla didn't have is this cool, quirky navigation thing going on. So, like, you not only have your Google Map on the main screen, but then you have this little tiny screen for Google Map as well. And when you're navigating somewhere, your passenger can be screwing around on the screen, scrolling through Spotify, doing whatever they do, and you can still have the navigation up here as a map in the screen that is attached to your steering wheel. Also, in the heads-up display, it will also tell you, like, turn left in 600 feet or whatever. I think that's a really cool integration. I also don't know why Tesla doesn't have heads-up display.
Daddy Doug has been saying that for so many years now.
Yeah.
He said it's the stupidest thing that there's no screen.
It's so stupid.
And the next best thing with no screen would be a heads-up display right where you're looking.
Which, the thing is, I remember preaching to people when I had the Tesla. People were like, I could never not have the speed right in front of my face. And I'm like, dude, it's literally like you look kind of like that and there's the speed you're going. And I remember preaching to people, you didn't need the speed in front of your face. And now I'm like, I kind of missed it.
It kind of makes sense to know how fast you're going.
I kind of missed it.
Yeah.
Like when I say I had...
That's kind of that culty mentality, I think.
Yeah, like I had the Tesla blinders on. I was like, this car's the best. And I was preaching how it was the best. And then I drove something else. I was like, wow. The grass is greener on the other side. Mm-hmm. So those are just a few features that I do miss about the Tesla that I think could be easily integrated or coded into the software for this car, because the mirrors do have the capability to do a whole bunch of, I mean, the mirrors can fold in too, but the thing is there's no option to be like, when it locks I want the mirrors to fold in. My Tesla did that all the time, but also that also kind of bit me in the butt too, because in the winter Teslas just aren't designed for cold climates.
No.
This Polestar was designed for cold climates.
Did you know it has door handles?
Yeah, this car has door handles. They're actually pretty cool. So no longer do you have to sit there using the butt of your phone and smacking the door handles to try and get them out of the car. Because remember, I have a 2020, so I didn't have the pop door feature on my car versus the ones after mine. So I remember sitting there smacking, trying to chisel out my door handles. The door handles pop right out. I have gone through a few ice and snowstorms with this now. In a month of having it, because it is February. My door handles have never frozen on me one time. My mirrors have never frozen on me one time, partially because they don't really move from where they're at. So I can't really test that theory. Also, though, is that the camera system in this car, the radar system, is so freakishly genius that it doesn't think I'm hitting something when there's ice on the nose of my car. And that is partially because this car was designed in Sweden, so it's heated radar in the front, in the nose of the car, and you can see it too. the little squiggly line.
It's like a rear window.
Yeah, it's heated.
Yeah.
So that was always annoying. You'd be driving down the highway in your Tesla, and if there was snow or something on the front, it's like, you're gonna hit something. Stop. And they'd be yelling at you to stop. And it's like, I'm not gonna hit anything. You're stupid.
These doors also have bezels. So in the winter, the freaking Tesla window would not roll down. It would be frozen shut. You would open your door, and since it wasn't rolled down, you couldn't close your door.
Without risking
So it'd
breaking
be
your window.
negative degreeage outside, and you're on the phone trying to call Tesla, which is
roadside.
impossible.
Yeah.
And they're like, have you tried turning it off and turning the car back on? Like, how is that going to heat up my car so I can close my door?
Yeah, because in the Tesla, even if your door didn't shut the whole way, you could not put the car in drive.
Yep.
So the thing is, I couldn't shut my door the whole way, or else I would risk breaking my window.
The glass would shatter.
I don't have to worry about that with this car, which is nice. That and people, like passengers that I used to drive, used to take and close the door by the glass. One, that's not okay in any car. Don't do that. And, but yeah, now I don't have to worry about it. So I think that's a perk. Another thing I will say that I
Another
do miss,
one.
Another thing that I do miss about the Tesla is the steering wheel functions. Even though they were just two scroller balls that you could click side to side, they were pretty useful.
It was good.
The only side, well, like, since I haven't really done adaptive cruise control, I know, like, the whole left-hand side of the steering wheel does all that. There's no, like, icons or anything, so I kind of hope that maybe Polestar will code it to be customizable. Like, different buttons do different things on different profiles and stuff like that. So I really haven't played with the left, and I'm like, why is this even here? I don't use it, like, on my daily drive. Like, I kind of wish it was like a skip button for music. And then this whole other side is, I think the one down is to change the screen in front of you to the different views, and then the up is for the Google Voice, Google Assistant. Which I find like a really cool feature because the Tesla one was trash. Also, this battery is massive.
Yeah. Very, very big.
Yeah, this battery is ginormous. I think my range is 315. Polestar, unlike Tesla, recommends that you daily charge to 90. Now, since the battery is so freaking massive, I actually never fully charged to 90. It's set to 90. Because I have just a slow, regular, standard plug at home. I don't have anything fancy. But I do charge it at my job sometimes when I'm there, and it's a big battery. And
Yeah.
I think the range, personally, I mean, in my month of ownership, I think it's pretty accurate to what is actually depicted. I really did have problems with the Tesla. I would go 50 miles, but I would lose 120, which...
And it's accurate in the cold, right?
Yes.
Which is crazy.
And you don't have that weird thing like in the Tesla in the really freezing temperatures, your Regen wouldn't work at all. This Regen always works all the time, but it's because I have a heat pump, and in the 2020 Tesla that I own, I did not have a heat pump. Yeah.
Again, this was initially made for the cold.
Yes. In Sweden.
Oh, Sweden, yeah.
Overall, 1 month in, very, very satisfied. I am really excited to kind of show people different features and different quirks about the car that I come over them, especially with all the over-the-air updates. Like, I only want the software to get better because I feel like that is the biggest pin in this car, is the software. I think that I think that's the only thing in this car that could be improved on, because everything else is amazing.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want to say it in a weird way because there are things I really like about this operating system in this car for the software, but I kind of wish they just plugged all the features that Tesla had into this car
Just
and ran it on
just like
this
copied a lot of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. But, like, not the operating system of Tesla.
No, the features.
But the features of the software. Yeah.
You just want your light show back.
No, but I really do miss hearing my car quack at me in the morning when it locks. Yeah, because I'd be dreading going into work and I'd hear the quack and I'm like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I miss the Jetsons like backup sound.
This one does sound kind of like an Amazon truck.
Yep. Beep, boop, boop, boop. It like. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, it's weird and it's loud. I'm waking up the whole neighborhood. I know. Yeah. So brings me to King of Prussia Polestar. Shout out to the general manager Sam and David, my sales guy, and Chris.
Yeah, he was later, but yeah, he was pretty cool.
Yeah, big shout out to them. I couldn't make it out to King of Prussia Polestar in January for the January stuff, but I did talk via email and on the phone with Sam. He told me lock in, same thing as Tesla, lock in your pick of the car with a $500 deposit that is completely refundable if you choose, not to do it. And I did that, and then I didn't make it down there until I think February 1st to test drive the car. And I got locked into the January rates, which were better, but if the February rates were better, I could still use those too, but I ended up going with the January one. So he was super helpful in helping me get into this car, because he knew I wanted out of the Tesla, and I really do appreciate that. David, shout out to him, because he was just a fun dude to test drive this car with. Definitely showed me around very well and got me familiar with all of the things on the car, especially even during the delivery. David was the one doing my delivery with me and got my profile set up, answered all my stupid questions, commented on my Spotify playlist. Love that. Thank you. So without them, none of this would have been a thing. And just the support that they give after you picked up the car, because you are going to have questions as time goes on, that's amazing too. So
yes, Sam has answered every time we call, have a question. He actually has a P3 as well, so
he traded in a Tesla
super
for a P3.
super open to talk about it. And
I think maybe that's why he worked with me and got me such killer deals, because he also was leaving Tesla. I wanted to leave Tesla, and he kind of enticed me to join the Polestar family. So now I am part of the King of Prussia Polestar family, and I am really happy about it. Great group of people. So if you are close to the Pennsylvania area, there's not a lot of Polestars around us, definitely go and check out Sam and David and the Polestar King of Prussia family. Just this little place. The showroom's kind of fancy-dancy, kind of minimalistic, gives you some IKEA vibes in a way. And it's just a fun time, and they'll show you whatever you need. So
yeah, just a little bit on the dealership experience too. I think it's the perfect happy medium between a regular ICE brand experience, which is, I think everybody hates. Pushy, it's long. We've been at dealerships where we're there 4 or 5 hours just for no reason whatsoever. But then there's the extreme other side of Tesla where they just could not give a crap. They're just we went to pick up your car, and they wouldn't even talk to us.
No, doing the delivery of the Tesla, they're all right, here's your car, which one of you wants the phone app? I'm like, I do, it's my car. And they hooked me up with the phone app. They handed me a clipboard through the window. I signed some things, I gave it back to them. They're like, have a good one.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know if that's changed, because that was in 2020. It was October, so I don't know, maybe if it was a COVID thing or something. I don't know. But shout out to David, and shout out to Sam.
Yeah, it's
and
a perfect
everybody.
happy medium. Yeah. Hey, if you have questions, we're here. They're super helpful, super friendly, cracking jokes, no pressure.
No pressure.
The $500 deposit was no pressure at all. It was just, hey, this locks it in. And
even if you come out and test drive, because I put the deposit on it before I test drove it.
Yeah.
And he assured me that, if you don't like the car,
yep.
You come out here and you test drive it and you're not satisfied, it's refundable.
Yeah, just get your money back.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's kind of cool, because that's the one thing I was concerned about. But I really do like the car. Still taking some getting used to, but so far I give it a good thumb up.
Wow, a thumb up.
It's still my first month. I still have a lot of I still have a relationship to build with the car. So
what'd you call it?
I don't have a name for her
Oh
yet.
My gosh.
I wanted to call her Captain Phasma because she's silver-ish, but the app doesn't let me put that many characters into the name.
Okay.
So I have yet to name her.
Oh.
The Tesla was Princess Leia.
Twas.
So I haven't named her yet, but we'll think of something.
I think that's a wrap, miss.
Yep. I think it's a wrap.
Yeah.